Cross the rope.
Perfect one. There you go. Move your head after the last punch. Beautiful. Yeah. Again, shout it.
Leaked footage has surfaced, revealing Mike Tyson's intense training regimen, fueling excitement ahead of his upcoming clash with Jake Paul. Even at 57, Tyson looks sharp on the pads, showcasing that his power and hand speed remain largely intact. The footage highlights that, despite his age, Tyson's explosiveness and precision have not faded, reinforcing the belief that he is still a dangerous presence as the fight draws closer.
Nice.
Extremely vicious workout, right?
Following the announcement of the fight, Tyson made a bold statement, declaring that he intends to end Jake Paul's boxing journey. The contrast between the two fighters is striking. In recent years, Tyson has at times been seen using a cane for support, and his ongoing battle with sciatica has raised concerns about the physical toll of age on his once dominant body. Speaking in an interview with Greta Van Sesteren, Tyson openly discussed the condition, admitting that when the pain flares up, it can be so severe that he struggles to function normally. Despite growing worries about Tyson's health, several respected figures still believe in his abilities. Manny Pacquiao, when asked about Jake Paul's chances against the 57-year-old icon, dismissed the idea outright, simply stating that he did not think Paul could win before walking away. Meanwhile, UFC superstar Conor McGregor has shown little enthusiasm for the matchup itself, suggesting he sees little value in bringing a retired legend back into the ring against a much younger opponent. McGregor described the fight as strange and admitted his interest level was low, though he made it clear that if the bout does go ahead, his support lies with Tyson. Referring to the former heavyweight champion as Tyson Vinci, McGregor hinted that many fans, including himself, may still be backing Iron Mike as the showdown approaches.
Your thoughts on this Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight?
Oh jeez, I don't. It's a bit strange. You know, is my interest? The interest is a low one. I don't know. I don't really. I don't understand it.
Got it. Any difference between this one and?
I wish well for Mike.
Right, we're gonna go. Awesome. Thank you so much.
However, whether McGregor's predictions ultimately align with reality remains to be seen. In the meantime, recent sightings of Mike Tyson using a cane have prompted figures like Oscar de la Hoya to warn Jake Paul against underestimating the former heavyweight champion. Similar cautionary messages are being voiced from multiple corners of the boxing world, all directed squarely at the YouTuber. De la Hoya questioned Paul's intentions, saying that if he truly wants to be a world champion and be taken seriously in boxing, then he needs to approach the sport with genuine seriousness, emphasizing that boxing is not a popularity contest. Despite his mixed feelings about the matchup, De La Hoya remains convinced that this fight represents the toughest test of Jake Paul's career so far. He believes that Tyson's sheer presence alone could create significant challenges for Paul. At the same time, De La Hoya acknowledged Paul's commitment to boxing, suggesting that if he chooses the right opponents and follows the correct path, a world title could be within reach, even if victory is far from guaranteed. Still, De La Hoya's primary concern centers on protecting Mike Tyson's legacy, expressing discomfort with the idea of Tyson facing an opponent he views as less proven. While clearly reluctant about the bout, he also understands why both fighters are willing to take part, conceding that the fight is likely to draw massive attention and generate substantial revenue.
Through Mike Tyson, he's not gonna, I mean, he's gonna make a shitload of money. He's gonna gain more popularity on Mike Tyson's expense. Do I like it? No, because I love.
Moreover, De La Hoya added that he does not believe the fight would be dangerous for Tyson, emphasizing that Tyson has spent his career sharing the ring with true monsters. He pointed out that Tyson has a proven chin and expressed confidence that he could still comfortably go 6, 7, or even 8 rounds. However, De La Hoya reiterated that his primary concern lies with Tyson's legacy rather than his physical safety, as the months count down to the highly anticipated clash between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Set to stream on Netflix, the problem child has already begun stirring controversy by calling out Iron Mike on Instagram. Despite Tyson's relatively calm response, suggesting he could put Paul to sleep, Paul escalated the exchange with a follow-up post on his Instagram stories. While Paul's confidence and bravado are evident, it appears he may be underestimating the magnitude of the opponent standing across from him. Although Mike Tyson is now 57 years old, his legacy as one of the most fearsome fighters in boxing history remains undeniable. With just 6 losses in 58 professional bouts and an astonishing 44 wins by knockout, Tyson's resume speaks for itself. While some may associate him with his lighthearted cameo in The Hangover, true boxing fans remember Iron Mike as a relentless force inside the ring, and the leaked training footage only reinforces that his skills and menace have not faded with time. Paul may be banking on the belief that Tyson's prime is long behind him and that he hasn't competed in the ring since 2020. However, in professional fighting, outcomes often hinge on preparation, skill, and experience rather than youth alone. Even if he is no longer in peak condition, Tyson still carries decades of ring intelligence and battle-hardened instincts. What's truly remarkable is that, despite approaching 60, he continues to display an impressive level of physical fitness that few fighters of any age can match. One of the pivotal factors that sets Tyson apart is his approach to the sport. While his opponent may be attempting to downplay Tyson's abilities through trolling, Tyson appears unfazed and unwilling to fall into that trap. His blunt criticism of his son's decision to face Paul, along with his candid insight into why traditional boxers harbor resentment toward the Paul brothers, reflects a deeper understanding shaped by decades in the game. Now, turning back to Tyson's leaked training footage, it reveals exactly how he recently overwhelmed and smashed his own trainer during an intense session.
Today was the day, you know. Play with fire, sometimes happen.
One of the pivotal factors that sets Tyson apart is his approach to the sport. While his opponent may be attempting to downplay Tyson's abilities through trolling, Tyson appears unfazed and unwilling to fall into that trap. His blunt criticism of his son's decision to face Paul, along with his candid insight into why traditional boxers harbor resentment toward the Paul brothers, reflects a deeper understanding shaped by decades in the game. Turning back to Tyson's leaked training footage, it reveals how he recently overwhelmed and dominated his own trainer during an intense session.
You heard it right, motherfucker. I'm fighting Mike Tyson.
Oh shit.
I'm just so glad to have the honor to step in the ring with one of the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champions there's ever.
Everyone is well aware of the obvious danger hovering over the YouTuber, something even he seems to acknowledge, as reflected in the skit he recently released. While Jake Paul may be the loudest source of bravado, Tyson doesn't need to say much. One stare alone is enough to make anyone rethink their confidence. Meanwhile, coming off UFC 299, Dana White addressed the Tyson vs. Paul matchup, admitting he's asked Tyson not to fight. Noting that Mike is nearly 60 years old, White expressed some curiosity about seeing what Tyson is still capable of at this stage, but he made it clear he's uncomfortable with matchups like this. Pointing to the massive imbalance between the two fighters, Dana White emphasized his personal respect for Tyson, calling him a close friend and one of his favorite athletes of all time, but reiterated his dislike for seeing fighters compete at such an advanced age. He explained that his main concern lies in the fairness of the contest, highlighting the more than 30-year age gap between Tyson and Paul. White added that neither he nor the UFC supports arranging fights with such extreme age differences, stressing that his position on these kinds of matchups has remained consistent over the years.
During that fight, just, you guys know what I think of that.
Now, at 57, Tyson is looking to come full circle by facing a much younger challenger in what he views as a defining chapter of his legacy. However, amid the growing anticipation, concerns continue to surface, most notably from analyst Stephen A. Smith, who has voiced serious worries about Tyson's well-being should he step back into the ring. Speaking on the Stephen A. Smith Show, the 56-year-old commentator admitted he isn't buying into the hype surrounding the matchup at this moment in time. While Smith acknowledged the buzz generated by the Paul vs. Tyson fight, he emphasized his concern over the risk of serious injury. He referenced a conversation with Daniel Cormier, who told him that the last time he saw Tyson was at a UFC event last year, where Tyson entered the arena using a cane. Smith questioned how someone seen walking with a cane could realistically be in the physical condition required to compete against an opponent nearly 30 years younger. It's also worth noting that Tyson has been spotted relying on a cane on multiple occasions and previously dealt with sciatica, an issue that reportedly forced him to leave Miami International Airport in a wheelchair back in 2022.
Recently, he's been posting videos of his workouts on social media. So here's the question. Are you buying the hype? I wish I could.
However, Stephen A. Smith did credit Jake Paul for agreeing to fight Mike Tyson, acknowledging the financial appeal of the matchup. "It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get it," Smith said. Still, he stressed that if Paul truly wants to be taken seriously as a boxer, he must eventually face opponents closer to his age and skill level. Smith argued that Paul doesn't need to fight elite champions like Canelo Alvarez or David Benavidez, but he does need to step in the ring with a bona fide legitimate contender if he expects credibility within the sport. Looking back to years, Mike Tyson had already shared his own blunt assessment of a potential fight with Jake Paul during an appearance on the Full Send podcast. Tyson dismissed Paul's boxing ability outright, saying it would be so easy, though he added he would never do it because he viewed Paul as family. Tyson mocked Paul's punches, claiming they could be seen coming from a mile away, even at 55 years old. He also stated that he would only need 4 weeks of training to prepare, insisting that 30 days of daily boxing would be enough to beat both Jake and Logan Paul without even worrying about diet. After the official fight announcement, Jake Paul emphasized the scale and importance of the event, claiming it would be unmissable, regardless of whether viewers supported him or Tyson, or whether they were hardcore boxing fans or casual viewers tuning in for the first time. Tyson, for his part, expressed genuine excitement about the potential bout, acknowledging Paul's growth as a boxer and framing the matchup as a test of youth, will, and ambition against experience and skill. Tyson described it as a full-circle moment, saying it would be beyond thrilling to watch that contrast unfold in the ring. Despite all the build-up, not everyone is convinced. Columnist Skip Bayless remains openly skeptical, admitting he struggles to wrap his head around the idea of Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson at this stage. On the latest episode of Undisputed, Bayless openly mocked the upcoming fight scheduled for July 20th, adding yet another critical voice to the already divided boxing community.
I don't think people give him a break being almost 60 years of age.
Give who a break?
Tyson. Like, if he did lose, wouldn't they say, well, he's almost 60 years?
Taking a different stance, Skip Bayless challenged the widespread belief that Tyson would easily defeat Paul, openly disagreeing with the popular consensus. As the problem child made the matchup public, Bayless admitted he would still watch it, comparing the situation to a barroom argument that somehow came to life. Despite Nikisa Badarian, Jake Paul's manager, predicting the fight would break viewership records in modern boxing, Bayless dismissed the idea, suggesting the matchup seemed like a random fantasy dreamt up over drinks in a dimly lit bar. He described how people might casually joke, "What if Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson?" and then argue about it, with the immediate assumption being that Tyson would win. Yet, Bayless said, suddenly that pipe dream turned into reality, as if someone decided to test what would happen. When Paul saw Bayless's comments, he took to Instagram stories to respond, firmly rejecting the idea that the fight began as a barroom joke. Paul also made it clear he doesn't agree with Bayless's claim that Tyson would dominate him, and he revealed that the concept of the bout had actually been in the works for 4 years. Meanwhile, Matchroom Boxing CEO Eddie Hearn was asked about the much-discussed showdown. Hearn responded by saying he was the wrong person to ask, explaining that, as a dedicated boxing fan and someone who idolized Tyson, he found the matchup disappointing. While he acknowledged that the event would undoubtedly draw massive attention and serve as major entertainment, he admitted that, from the perspective of a traditional boxing enthusiast who respects Tyson's legacy, the idea was not a welcome development.
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. He's one of my heroes. I find it very sad, but it's a big event. I understand people are going to watch it, and it's entertainment, I guess, but for someone that idolized the guy growing up.
Hearn suggested that for true boxing fans, watching such a spectacle was disappointing. He went on to say that although the event will attract viewers and serve as entertainment, it still felt like a sad moment for those who grew up idolizing Tyson. In his view, it wasn't a proud day for real lovers of the sport. Opinions about the upcoming fight have been divided, but former Pittsburgh Steeler Le'Veon Bell, who has since entered the boxing world, is confident the match will end in a knockout. Bell believes Tyson will show strength early on, but he expects the legend to tire quickly and eventually lose. His prediction centers on the vast age gap between Tyson and Paul. Bell tweeted that Tyson might perform well for about 30 seconds in the first round, but would then become fatigued and be knocked out, adding that he isn't surprised by this viewpoint from those who don't fully understand boxing. While many fans are swayed by nostalgia and lean toward Tyson, Olympic gold medalist Tony Jeff urged boxing followers not to let emotion cloud their judgment. He pointed to Tyson's history of fighting top heavyweights, taking powerful shots, and being knocked out several times, combined with the lifestyle he has led, and questioned how durable his punch resistance would be now. With many fans favoring Tyson, Jeff felt the need to offer a different viewpoint, explaining that Tyson may no longer be the dominant force he once was, and that facing Paul could present serious challenges.
Tyson versus Jake Paul, I've got so many thoughts on this, how it is absolutely disgusting and it should not be allowed. On the other side, I'm like, wow. A round of applause for these guys.
Jeff pointed out that Tyson has long since moved away from the disciplined lifestyle of a professional athlete, especially when compared to Paul, who has been living like an elite competitor in recent years. He emphasized that Paul has fully embraced the athlete's routine, spending months in training camp and committing himself to every aspect of preparation. Jeff noted that Paul has the resources to surround himself with top-tier professionals, from nutritionists and chefs to strength and conditioning coaches, ensuring he has the best support team possible. He also suggested that Tyson's entourage may share some responsibility for the fighter's current state, implying they may have encouraged or allowed him to believe he could still compete at the highest level.